Hello and welcome. It's great to have you here. Thank you so much for hitting play and choosing to listen to one of our inspiring guests. This is one of our masterclass episodes where rather than talking to a brand, we have an e-commerce expert joining us to share the key things you need to know in one key e-commerce subject. And in this episode, we are tackling one of my favorite e-commerce marketing topics, how to make your promotions and discounts and offers work for you. How you can increase AOV, how you can increase conversion rates, how you can do all of that while spending less margin on making it all happen. Our guest is all about helping your offers more intelligent to increase your profits. And who doesn't want a bit of that in 2025? Quite frankly, margin is everything. We're going to be going through the key ways in which you can make offers better. We'll be talking about the software platform he works for, which enables you to manage all of this very straightforwardly. We will also be talking about the best things to test, the best things to optimize. We'll be talking about the importance of not giving people discounts and offers. And we will be talking about some key areas that you should really be testing for where you're offering people discounts and promotions. There's a lot in this one. You're going to get a lot out of it, I know. And please make sure you listen to the end so you don't miss out on my guest's top tips, which includes some very clever ways of using Claude rather than ChatGPT to improve your marketing. And you'll also get my own take at the end as well. And now to introduce our special guest. Dan Bond is the VP of Marketing at RevLifter, software that drives intelligent offers to boost your bottom line. Hello, Dan.
Hello, Chloe.
Very cool to have you on the show to talk about one of my favourite topics in the world of e-commerce and marketing. But before we get into that, how did you end up in the world of e-commerce? Because I know you've done a lot of marketing over the years, but when did e-commerce come into your mix?
Yes, I've been a marketer for around about 20 years. I am much older than I look, is all I'll say. So I'm mainly in B2B, but also a little bit of B2C here and there. Obviously working with RevLifter, trying to work with retailers. So I'm quite recent to the world of e-commerce with RevLifter. But I have to say, it's a really interesting area because from a marketing perspective, it's kind of the purest form of marketing. When you work in B2B, you're often solving business problems. They're quite solid things. They're quite needs. Whereas what I really like about retail is it often, sometimes it's about needs as well, but often it's just about pure brand, pure creating something that people want rather than need. And so from that perspective, it's a really interesting kind of pure marketing challenge. So it's a really fascinating area to be working in.
So we're going to have you in the e-commerce world for a while yet.
Very, very possibly.
Excellent news. So in e-commerce, you talk a lot about intelligent offers. That's the RevLifter, all about helping us do intelligent offers.
Yes.
What is an unintelligent offer?
Yeah, so offers have been around for a really long time. It's something like 150 years. The very first ones were actually little metal tokens you could exchange for a free product to try or a discount. So there were really old mechanisms that's existed for a long time. And over time, the delivery method has changed. So you went from metal tokens. We had paper coupons, which people used to sit and cut out of newspapers and that kind of thing. And now we're on to sort of codes that can be used, QR codes, just little codes you type in. Sometimes you don't even need to type in the code; the discount just applies. But the way they've been used hasn't really changed in all that time. So it's still site-wide, broad promotions. It's 20% off everything. The original use cases for promotions were basically two things. Number one, you had a new product, you wanted some market penetration, so you wanted to get people to try it, or you had some old stock you were trying to clear out, so you used it to sell off everything that you've got in stock. And we just think there is based on new technology, based on things like data and AI, there are more intelligent ways to use offers, so you're not just giving away discounts to everyone, which damages margins and damages brand.
It is quite mad how such a hugely powerful tool in our toolbox, the ability to make customers do what we want them to do by using different offers, using different incentives. It's so powerful, and yet we put so little effort normally into finessing it, because it's got so much potential for finessing, so many different parts of a 20% off promotion that we just go, oh, 20% off on everything. It's like you say, it's so unintelligent when it's so easy to make it more intelligent. So what is therefore an intelligent offer? How do we make it more intelligent?
Yeah, so there's two places where that intelligence comes in. So both at the beginning and basically at the end. So at the beginning, it's all about the targeting. So as marketers, we talk about targeting being one of the key pillars. It's all about who gets an offer, who gets shown an offer, and also most importantly, a lot of the time, who doesn't get shown an offer, or in what context they don't get shown an offer. And so deciding, if you're going to, at the end of the day, you could say, we're going to run an offer, but half of people are going to see it and half of people aren't. And then that will probably lead to an increase in some conversions, and you'll save some money. But the question is, could you put some intelligence into who sees the offer and who doesn't? So you could use something like we do, which is to try and data to understand the intent of people who've come to your site. Are they likely to buy or are they not? And then use that as a way to target those offers to show them to people who aren't going to buy or who are getting quite close to buying but aren't going to buy, and use that as a way to get them over the line, or to get them to spend more. And then the other end of the intelligence is at the other end of it. So once you're running your offers, testing and optimizing them, which is kind of, as you're saying, it's crazy that we set these offers up and then just leave them. Test and optimize them continuously to try and make sure they work as effectively and as efficiently as possible, basically. And that's the two elements of intelligent offers.
See, that makes it seem so simple and straightforward, but yet still so many brands, even big brands, aren't doing it in any way, shape, or form. Why do you think brands don't take these steps?
I think there's a couple of reasons that come up a lot when we speak to brands who we work with. So number one is it's just habit. It's just something that brands have got used to. As we say, it's been 150 years. There's just these classic use cases people associate with promotions, which are, we want to clear things out. We've got a seasonal sale coming up. This is our chance to discount things, to get rid of things. They get used all the time when someone's heading towards the end of a reporting period and they're not going to hit their target. That's when you get an offer out. So that's definitely one part of it. The other part is just not having the time. There is a perception most companies have, which is, you don't need as many people to run e-commerce as you do physical stores. And as a result, I think sometimes, and that is largely true, as a result, sometimes you get very under-resourced e-commerce teams who have a lot of different things to optimize. They've got to optimize their website, they've got to optimize their email marketing, they've got to optimize their ads, they've got to optimize their social. Everything's going to be optimized. And another thing to optimize, to say, here's another thing, which is your promotions. You can also work on these, focus on these and optimize these. It's just another thing for them to do. So that they just need help in order to do that, and help understanding how they can do it. And if that help can be provided, then it's going to help them improve their performance.
So that's the pain. What sort of results do we see? I guess what I really want to say is, of the people who come to you to make all of this actually work, rather than it being on a strategy but not actually happening, are they coming because they want to improve profits, because they want to improve volume sold, because they want to improve customer retention? What's the big thing they're aiming for? And then follow-up question, Dan, just to give you this one in advance, is that what they actually achieve? Sometimes we find people are like, oh, what I want is improved customer retention, but what they really wanted was better profit. So
yes,
there you go. Big double question for you.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah, I'll try and remember both parts. So the first part is, they come to us for a variety of reasons. It can just be as simple as, I'm looking for another way to improve my conversions or my AOV. It's CRO at the end of the day. It will improve things. And it's like, we can absolutely do that. It can be sort of, we need help just managing our promotions and offers. That's a big old task. Can we help with that? Yes. They'd also might come because they want to optimize their promotions. They're using promotions at the moment and they think they could be using them better. And the classic example, we've had customers, Radley London, we recently published a case study with Radley London, and what they came to us with was the specific request of, we see ourselves, we are a premium brand, and we're using discounts too much. Can you help us reduce our reliance on those promotions and discounts? To which the answer is absolutely yes. That's absolutely what it can do. So yeah, it's a combination of the two things really. You've got to have the outcome, which is to improve conversion rates or increase AOV. That's what promotions do. That's what they're for. But then the other part to it is then also optimizing them and saving money and reducing the spend on promotions by not using them so much, and protecting the brand and the brand values by not being seen as an always-on discounter. In terms of the second part, which I did remember, in terms of what results do we see, we absolutely see those results, which has been really positive. So we're measuring things. We're obviously measuring the day-to-day performance of offers and promotions and seeing how those things are driving extra conversions, increasing AOV, and are being redeemed and are being used. But also then we're looking at redemption. We're looking at how much we're saving. So if we're showing the offer to certain people and not to others, what is the actual saving, the monetary saving from not showing that offer to others, if you saw the same increase in conversion. And so in the case of Radley London, for example, yes, we've improved their conversion rates by about 15%. We've improved AOV by about 20%, and we've reduced the cost by about 8%. So the incremental revenue we've driven, we've saved about 8% of the cost of that by not showing promotions to everybody. And that's just the start of it. We aim to keep optimizing that even further. So yeah, there's lots of things it can do. It can also help you clear stock, by targeting promotions only on certain products. It can help you, optimize your sell-through rate on products. So there's lots of different things it can solve for you. We're really at the beginning of figuring out a lot of those benefits it can have.
I find the Radley case study fascinating, and listeners, I have read the Radley case study, so
Good.
I can't remember all the numbers, but I remember it's kind of like the unobtainable golden goose, if I've got my fairy tales correctly, which is you're increasing conversion, you're increasing AOV, and you're spending less to do it. You're giving away less margin in order to achieve it, which is, I think, if marketing want to make friends with the merchandising team,
yes,
and hit all the company targets, it seems like a bit of an amazing route to go down. Now, you mentioned there about some people see the offer, some people don't. We're not really talking A/B split testing here, are we? We're talking about the technology has realized that these people don't need to be shown a discount, so we're not showing them a discount because they're going to buy anyway. So it's not an A/B test. This is a clever working out of who needs it and who doesn't.
Yes, exactly. So it's all based around behavioral signals. So we tag a retailer's website, and then we analyze all the behavioral signals that are going on. Things like, where have people come from? What channel have they come from? What are they looking at? What pages are they looking at? What products are they browsed? What categories? What have they added to their cart? What stage in the funnel are they? Where are they? There's all these different data points we can collect, and then we analyze all of those. So we kind of break it into two different forms of intent. There's kind of explicit intent. So that's like things you can observe yourself in your own data. Where are these people in the e-commerce funnel? Are they doing anything which suggests they might be about to leave, like time spent on the site or something like that? But then there's the implicit intent, which is basically our intent model, which is where the data analysis and the kind of AI machine learning part comes in, which is we're taking all those data points, feeding it into our model and saying, okay, based on what people who've been on this site have done in the past, do you think this person is likely to buy or not? What kind of percentage of likelihood to buy or not are they? Do you think they score? And then we can target offers to people based on that. So you can use both, and you can overlay the two things, and you can create quite a sophisticated approach to deciding who gets to see an offer, which offer they get to see as well. So some people might get a different offer to other people, a bigger offer, a smaller offer. It's kind of personalization, but it's all in that data analysis and that clever understanding of what's going on in your site. And being able to respond to that, and then some sort of intervention to make people more or less likely to do what you want them to do, basically.
Got it. So there's huge potential of what we could do generally in promotions, and especially if we're using RevLifter to make it a lot easier to manage and save us a huge amount of time.
Yes.
Are there, like, if you were Klaviyo I'd be saying, where does
Mhm.
someone start? Because there's so much you can do with your email campaigns. Are there some obvious places to start with your activity? Is it a blanket across everything? Is it, I don't know, an abandoned basket campaign? Is it something else? Are there obvious places where you see the biggest, quickest wins coming with intelligent offers?
Yes, so we'd probably start off. We always say so. We offer a 90-day free trial anyway, so people can try intelligent offers for themselves and see how they work. And in that 90-day period, we usually suggest, well, this is a good chance to let's try optimizing something in your current performance, and let's see what we can do with that. So there's a couple of different places. So number one, I've got a couple of personal bugbears, which are to do with basically the email sign up offer that every retailer runs on their site. 10% off if you sign up to our email. Everyone runs that. No one optimizes it. No one tries different approaches, tests different offers, tries to use something like intent to decide who sees it and who doesn't. What funnel stages. So that's always a classic one. Or the new customer offer, the same thing. First time purchase gets 10% off. There's lots we can do around those two to optimize them, and in that first 90 days, that's where you can try them. The other thing is, as you say, like cart abandonment, so exit campaigns, as we call them, when people are showing signals they're going to leave. They were always a great place to start. You can just start very quickly recovering some people who are going to leave, but by separating them out into the people who were reasonably likely to buy to very likely to buy, and you can start targeting offers at different groups, and you can very quickly drive some additional conversions. And we often find those things actually have an impact on improved AOV, because the people who are hesitating often are the people who are going to spend a bit more money. So if you can get more of those over the line, actually it can improve your AOV as well.
Love it. Couple of really straightforward places. Well, she says really straightforward. We all know there's a lot that goes into it, but a
Yeah, it
couple of
can. Depends. You can be as simple as complex as you like. We'd always recommend start simply. You're trying to motivate people or demotivate people sometimes from doing something. You're trying to get them to do something else instead of the thing they were going to do. So it's just about start off simply, work out what that incentive is that will achieve that, and then you can build complexity on top of it from there.
when a brand like Radley comes to you, who have that, our brand shouldn't be known for discounting. We want to get away from the discount addiction. Do you find that running promotions that don't have a discount, so free gift, free delivery, although that's probably straying into the world of discounts, do you find there's a place for getting intelligent with other calls to action to buy that aren't about giving away margin?
You can, yeah. We have worked with several brands who've said to us, like, we just don't run promotions. We get this all the time. You speak to premium brands, luxury brands, they just say, we don't run promotions, we don't run discounts. You can absolutely do some things, but the impact is limited. If you're coming to us and you sort of like, we want the 15% off, 15% improvement in conversion rate, then that's going to require, the ability to use some quite chunky discounts in order to achieve that. You're not going to achieve it with just some simple calls to action, some messaging, but you can actually absolutely use that. Radley themselves use a mixture. We've got discounts running, we've got promotions running, we've got seasonal kind of promotions running. They've just got standard kind of messaging reminding you of sort of payment options or returns policies or new products that have come out as well. So it's about mixing up all these different things and finding what's the right combination, the right personalized combination to put in front of someone, again, to get them to buy or buy more, basically.
Yeah, it comes down to that whole. I remember like 10 years ago going, yeah, we need to create customer journeys for everybody and we need to be able to map them out on the wall and trying to work out how they all go. And it's like, I think we've finally reached the point where we've stopped trying to do that. And instead we're going, hello, lovely technology. Here's all the options that someone could see. Here's all our live things at the moment. You work out what they need to see to drive the results. And it feels like one of the places where technology is delivering the greatest benefits at the moment is it's taking all that data that's impossible as a human being to crunch and work through in a meaningful way, and then it's enabling us to get the right messages in front of the right people to then drive those results. Is that too highfalutin a way of explaining it, or is that what you're seeing?
No, no, absolutely. I think that's the thing. You could absolutely break down how an intelligent offer worked in a single case and say, well, yeah, I could do that. It's kind of like if someone walked into your store and you personally negotiated with them. You could absolutely do that, but you can't do that with 1,000 visitors to your website every day. That's just not going to work. You need to be able to scale it, and you need it to be able to learn continuously as well, very quickly, and adapt to what's happening. And yeah, as you say, humans just aren't capable of that. So that's really what AI is good for. It's essentially a kind of sophisticated automation to make things that weren't possible by being able to do them quickly and at scale. And that's absolutely what the idea of intelligent offers. We're doing it thousands of times every week on someone's site, or every day on someone's site. And that's what's helping drive those results.
I love this section because it gives me and our listeners some really quick ideas for taking our businesses to the next level. So Dan, are you ready for the top tips?
I will give it a very good go.
Excellent. That's all we can ask. Book top tip first up then. If everyone listening to this podcast agreed to take Friday off and read a book to make their business better, which book would you recommend?
Now, I was going to recommend Alchemy by Rory Sutherland, but I was looking online the other day, and everybody is recommending Alchemy by Rory Sutherland. Read Alchemy by Rory Sutherland. It's great. The book I was going to recommend, I'm going to hold it up for the camera for the video. It's a book called Changing the World is the Only Fit Work for a Grown Man by Steve Harrison. It's a great title. And it's a direct quote. It's about an ad man from the 1960s called Howard Gossage. So he was around about the same sort of time as the Mad Men on Madison Avenue. However, he was based in San Francisco and very much embraced a counterculture approach to the work, to marketing, to advertising. He had some very interesting ideas that I think were very much ahead of their time, particularly around the thing he could really do. And you'll see that if you Google him, you'll find examples of the advertising he used to do. What he was really good at is he understood one audience really deeply and really well. And he would get companies to come to him and then say, I will write ads that will appeal to this audience who are very affluent and very clever. So that from that perspective, he's a really interesting person to study that sort of early work. He was also a pioneer of direct response. So things like, email marketing and things like that eventually emerged. So yeah, he's a really interesting person. So yeah, a book well worth spending some time on.
Oh, I'm not sure I've ever heard of him, and I've definitely never heard of the book. So I'm going to have to go and have a read of that. He sounds fascinating.
He is.
Excellent. Okay, traffic top tip. Which marketing method do you either prize above all others or think doesn't get the press it deserves?
Yeah, this is an interesting one to approach with my B2B and B2C hat on at the same time. So the way I always think about traffic, and I'm sure this is true for retailers as well, is it's quality, not quantity. It's about the good stuff coming to your site that actually is good people. And obviously that's what we're all about, is understanding the traffic that's coming to your site and saying which is the good traffic that looks like it's going to buy versus the stuff that's just come to spend some time. And I think from that perspective, if I was going to pick a channel in particular, I would say it's branded search, because I think it's a bit sort of ignored sometimes in favor of, what can we drive, extra traffic can we drive to a site with PPC or paid social or, advertising, whatever it is. But branded search actually tells you an enormous amount about your brand and your business. How many people are searching for you? Why are they searching for you? What's driving people to search for your brand specifically? Directly attributable traffic is great. We love that because it gives us lots of information, but it's only part of the picture. What's going on with your branded search, what's happening to that as that goes up and down, tells you a lot about the awareness of your brand in the market, how you're perceived, and is usually some of the most valuable traffic that comes to your site. So I would just a big shout out for branded search, I guess.
Oh, controversial topic in the world of e-commerce. Do you bid on your brand? Do you not bid on your brand? I totally get, though, if you're not looking after the branded search, then you are missing a trick. So I love that you've brought that one up. And for anyone listening, I think you should be bidding on your brand. Let's leave it there. Another tangent we could disappear off on. Right. Dan, the tool top tip, maybe a collaboration tool, a social media plugin, a phone app, or just a way of working. Is there a cool little tool you use that makes you and your team more efficient from day to day?
I really wanted to come up with something original, but I'm going to talk about AI. So I use Claude, which is Anthropic's AI chat tool. And I wanted to talk about it mainly to say, the AI tool, so it's equivalent of ChatGPT essentially, but I was recommended Claude as an alternative. So the advantage of Claude is it's much more isolated. So it doesn't, ChatGPT by default shares what you discuss with it into itself. So when other people inquire about it, it will use your data to train itself essentially. Whereas Claude keeps you isolated. So it's just in that one-to-one discussion. I believe in ChatGPT you can turn that off, but that's its default setting. So Claude is much better for sort of isolated, creating this sort of isolated little communication between you and it. And I use it kind of as a personal assistant. It's really interesting. At first I was just like everybody else, just typing in random things and seeing what happened. But I've kind of trained it and I've talked to it over time and I've briefed it and I've given it lots of background on me and what I'm trying to do and what I'm trying to achieve and who RevLifter are and what we're trying to do. And so now I can use it all the time to just kind of like run things by it to say, I've got this sort of thing I want to write about. I've got these 3 ideas. Is there anything I'm missing? Is there anything that, anything I need to include? Is there anything out there that can help contribute towards this? Give me a structure to think about this. And it's really good for that sort of thing, for that sort of, helping me structure things and get things in the right shape. So, lots of talk about how you can do sort of quirky, interesting things with things like ChatGPT and Claude. But I think, really, if the more time you spend with it and the more you put into it to kind of get useful outputs, you can do some really useful things that just help you just get more work done more efficiently. So I'll definitely give a shout out to that.
I have to say, I think I'm going to ban anyone from coming on and going ChatGPT full stop. It's like, idea. What? But I love it when someone comes on and does what you've just done, Dan, which is go, this is how I'm using Claude or ChatGPT or Gemini to get some great results. And I think it's very cool. So if you like fed in marketing plans, strategies, objectives, all that kind of background and case studies and things, so it's got that, kind of trained it on everything you're up to.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's got a space to upload knowledge, as it calls it, to give it feedback. So yeah, I've uploaded things like an entire list of every sort of blog post on our site, our tone of voice document, writing rules, basic information about who we are and how we talk about ourselves. Anything I can get hold of, case studies. And then I've given it more specific things about how I want to do things, how I want to write, how I want to, my position on things. It's just like, I think it's just like a human. If you're going to work with someone, the more you brief them, the better the output you'll get at the other end. And it's just the same with AI. The better you brief it, the more information you give it up front so it understands what you're trying to do, the better result you'll get at the other end. So yeah, absolutely. It's just about giving it that data so it understands more about what you're trying to do.
Nice. Okay, carbon top tip. What's your favorite way to reduce the carbon footprint of an e-commerce store?
This is an interesting question. It's not, I have to say, a particular area of expertise of mine, but I had a bit of a think, and I think what we talk about a lot with offers, and it brushes up against things like conversion rate optimization, UX, how easy your site is to use, how good your checkout experience is. All these things come into what we do a little bit as well. I just think that thing of clarity and simplicity is a really useful rule for everything. And the easier you make your customers' lives and the easier it is to kind of find what they're looking for, navigate your site, do what they're trying to do, the quicker they'll get to their goals, the less time they'll spend, the more time they'll save, the more, the less time they'll spend using their browser, looking for things, doing things. You're saving time, you're saving energy, you're saving people having to spend a lot of time on something when they didn't need to, giving people time back. That's all really good for everyone's mental health, everyone's ability to get things done, and for the environment as well, because we're not having to spend so much time on those things. We can go outside, we can enjoy nature. So it's a slightly roundabout carbon tip, but I think it's an important one.
It definitely counts as well.
Thanks.
Really like your take on that. Thank you, Dan. Now, before we say goodbye, many of the listeners are out there shouting at their phones going, how do I get in touch with Dan? I need to know more about this RevLifter thing. Ooh. So could you please let them know how to get in contact with you and with RevLifter?
Yeah, I mean, you can find me on LinkedIn, Dan Bond. I think I'm the first person who comes up. You can come to our website, RevLifter.com, and we've got loads of stuff there. I create all the content on our site, and there's loads and loads of advice on there about promotions and discounts and all that kind of stuff. So you'll find loads of useful information there. You can email me at dan.bond@revlifter.com. I believe there is a call to action on the screen right now as well to talk about where you can go to take advantage of our 90-day free trial. So yeah, find us. We're always happy. We're super friendly, nice people, and we're always happy just to talk about anything you want to talk about. So yeah, do reach out.
Awesome. Thank you, Dan. And for those of you who are on the audio version of this, the link Dan mentioned there to get the 90-day free trial is ecmp.info/RevLifter. So that's ECMP standing for eCommerce Master Plan.info/RevLifter. Just chuck that in the URL bar and you'll go straight to the 90-day free trial offer. Simple as that, everybody. Dan, thank you so much for being on the podcast. It's been brilliant getting to chat to you about promotions and intelligent offers. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Chloe. It's been wonderful. Thank you for having me on.
Well, it's always a treat to get to talk about, as we said at the beginning, one of those levers that we just do not pull hard enough in our businesses so much of the time: offers and promotions, how to do them intelligently, as Dan was taking us through, how you get the targeting right, who you work at, how not, or who even not to show an offer to, and then testing and optimizing it all to make it work ever better for you. Some brilliant results available if you get this right. And if you want to find out how RevLifter can help you do just that, then it's ecmp.info/RevLifter. You can get your hands on our notes from this episode, including those top tips and the links to what we mentioned, by heading over to ecommercemasterplan.com. You can also use our direct to episode short link. That's ecmp.info/ whatever the number of this episode is. You can use that to find any episode we've ever put out. Once you get to the website, you can also add yourself to our email list so you don't miss out on any of the things we share to help you improve your business. If you liked this episode and this chat about promos and offers, why not check out episode 270? Yes, a little way back, where I'm sharing in that episode, I'm sharing 3 of my marketing mantras, one of which is my promotional golden rule, which really builds on what you've learned in this episode. So I think you'll like it. Thank you for tuning in to this and every episode that you do of the e-commerce master plan podcast. I bring you a new interview every week because I want to inspire and help e-commerce business owners to succeed and thrive with their businesses, including progressing along the path to net zero. So if you know someone this show can help, please tell them to listen to the e-commerce master plan podcast. I hope you have a great week, and don't forget to keep optimizing.